Hello, it's Monica from Crafting with Quilling, and I hope you have absolutely fabulous day. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to create a personalized pop-up flower bouquet card with no cutting dice. If you like it, I really hope you'll feel inspired and craft along with me. For today's card, I'm going to use one of my favorite collections from Relatively Thoughtful called Independent Women. The design papers are stunning with lots of beautiful patterns and designs, but also there are elements for fussy cutting. And I have to admit that this color palette with all those purples, pinks and greens is my favorite. This card I'm going to create today is for a friend of mine who is absolutely fabulous woman. So I thought this collection would be perfect. And actually in that Independent Women collection, you also have some images of women that are very special. So you can also use those for your project. There are also beautiful flowers to fussy cut, and to be honest, I use my ScanNCut machine for most of them, so you can do that as well. If you're interested in any of the products I use in today's video, you can check the description down below. Here I've got 6 by 12 inches white card base, and I'm going to use some leftover design papers that I've got from my previous projects. But if you want, you can also use any design papers to create your own version, and that would be perfectly fine. However, if you like that Independent Women collection, check the link in the description down below to digital shop. And when these elements are ready, I'm going to create some mats and layers for the front of a card. So as you can see, I decided to go with a little bit of pink and purple. To add a little bit more interest to the border, I'm going to use my Distress Oxide ink in Kitsch Flamingo color, and I think that really makes a difference. And now it is time to assemble them using my one and only liquid glue, magic glue, because I do have that time to maneuver the elements if I make a mistake. And to be honest, that narrow pink border, it is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And with that white border for the card base really makes a difference. Now you can see all my elements fussy cut, but to be honest, as I told you, I also use my ScanNCut machine. And for today's card, I'm going to use all those pink flowers. And first, I decided to create a floral wreath for the front of a card. And I couldn't decide which elements I'm going to use. So it's always a good idea to do a dry run first, just to make sure all the elements will be there where you want them. And when these will be ready, I decided to back it up a little bit with the leftover green design paper I've got from my previous project, because that purple will be a little bit too overwhelming. But if we add another design paper with a pattern or different color, that really makes a difference. So now I'm going to adhere it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut at the back. Super quick and simple. And this way you don't need any nesting dice to create your beautiful floral wreaths. Do you like that technique? I really hope you'll feel inspired and create your own floral wreath for your next card. So when this is ready, you can also use some faux parts to add a little bit more dimension on your card. But here, I decided against it. I'm just going to adhere it with my glue. And decisions, where to put the wreath, right? I couldn't decide about how to put it here. And when this is ready, I use my printer and I created a sentiment. And this card, as I told you, is for a friend of mine, and we made her name day. And to add a little bit more contrast and interest, I'm going to use the same Distress Oxide ink in Kitsch Flamingo. So this way it is going to match with that pink border we created. Super simple so far, right? And it is time to use a liquid glue. If you want, you can also add some dimension with foam pads, and that will be perfect. Now it is time to decorate the inside of the card. And first, I'm going to create some panels for the left hand side using beautiful purple design patterns. I really like them, and I thought they would be perfect for today's card. How often do you decorate the inside of your cards? Please let me know in the comments down below. And as you can see with those patterns, they work so well together. That's why I really like that independent women collection. Have you heard about RT Create Make and Share group on Facebook? If you haven't, I left the link in the description down below so you can join us there. So if you do have any of the relatively thoughtful design papers, you can share your beautiful projects there. And to be honest, every single day there are so many stunning projects, so please check them out. When this is ready, as you can see here, I've got that smaller pink border, and I'm going to use that Distress Oxide ink in Kitsch Flamingo. I really like how it works with that independent women collection. So when this is ready, then it will be time to create our floral bouquet. Super simple. Trust me, all you have to do is to get some scraps from your card you've got left over from your previous projects. And when this is ready, we're going to use a scoring board so you know how to do it. It is super simple. So first, I'm going to create a panel measuring 2 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to score it at half, 1 inch, then 5.5, and also 5 inches. So basically all you have to do is to score half and 1 inch on both sides. Here I've got 2 by 5 inches, and I'm going to repeat the process. So I'm going to score it at half and 1 inch, then you can turn it and do exactly the same. For my smallest panel, I've got 2 by 4 inches, and it is time to score it at half, 1 inch, 3 inches and 3.5 inches. When this is ready, it will be time to fold and burnish all those flaps. And this way we're going to have that amazing dimension on our floral bouquet. You can also use your scoring tool or bone folder. The choice is absolutely yours. And as you can see, we do have that bridge effect, and that will give us all the dimension we need. And what's really good about this, it's going to fold flat in the envelope. That's why it is super cool. So if you've never ever tried this technique, I do encourage you to give it a go. Now it will be time to start putting all those elements inside of the card. And as you can see, the bottoms have to touch. But first, I'm going to create some other elements because I want to create that floral bouquet, but all the elements have to actually fit here. So I'm going to use my compass and a ruler just to measure how big my circle is going to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, and as you know, I don't really have any circle nesting dice. That's why I'm going to use my compass, and I'm going to measure it again. And when this is ready, I'm going to draw my circle using just the leftover card I've got from my previous project. I'm going to fussy cut it. Super simple. As I told you, it does not have to be perfect because no one will ever see it. You just have to make sure it is, let's say, more or less round. Now when this is ready, we can start putting all those elements inside of the card. First, you have to make sure that the very bottom flap actually touches the bottom of your card, and make sure the glue is set before you move on to the next step. Now it is time to put the glue on the top flap and fold it and hold it again just to make sure the glue sets. And when this is ready, as you can see, we already have that dimension, and it is time to put our biggest circle first. I'm going to attach it with my one and only liquid glue, magic glue, and also you can get it at relatively shop as well. And when this is ready, we can start decorating the inside of the card. So I need all my flowers. As you can see, I always keep them in the bag, and it's always together with the collection I needed. So I'm going to start with the roses. I really like them, and I thought they would be perfect to create that very, let's say, background element here. And you can also add some leaves as well, because that will give you more contrast and balance on your card. And those roses are simply stunning, and they work so well with that design paper underneath. I really, really like it. Have you ever heard about Relatively Thoughtful? If you haven't, please check the website. There are so many amazing digital collections you can get. And what's really good about digital collections, you can print them as many times as you want. so I'll probably need some more flowers, so I need to print them again. As you can see, I'm going to check with my second panel, and first I need to make sure that the roses are actually covered with the biggest circle before I assemble the second panel. Now when this is ready, I'm going to hold it and make sure the glue is set before I move on. And we already have that amazing dimension. You always have to make sure that all the elements will be covered. But later on, I'm going to show you a trick if you leave some spaces with no flowers. Just hold it for a couple of seconds, and when this is ready, we can start creating our second circle. So again, I'm going to measure using my ruler. Using my compass, I'm going to draw that circle and fussy cut. And again, it does not have to be perfect, because as you can see with the roses, they actually covered my circle. And whenever you create that pop-up floral bouquet, I do encourage you to fold it every single time you do it, because we don't want those flowers to go over the card when it's closed, right? So I'm happy with the circle here, so I'm going to use my one only liquid glue, magic glue, and I do encourage you to use liquid glue here, because you do have time to maneuver the elements, and here there are just so many elements you're going to add here. As you can see here, I decided to use those clusters of flowers, and I think they just work so well with that floral bouquet. So what do you think about this color palette for the flowers? Do you like it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, in the description down below, I left the links to Relatively Thoughtful shop, Facebook, Instagram, Craft World, and also amazing group, as I told you earlier, RT Create, Make and Share. So please check it out. It is time for our smallest panel, and again I'm going to create one more circle because I really want that dimension on that bouquet. So using my ruler, I just have to make sure my circle is slightly bigger so it actually covers the panel we created. And as you can see, I do have some flowers left over, and I'm going to fill all the spaces with them. But at the end, I'm going to have some white spaces. But there is always a way to fix it, and I'm going to show you how to do it. It is time to fussy cut our circle, and don't worry about pencil marks, no one will ever see them. So it is time to put that circle on a card, and it's always a good idea to fold it whenever you add more elements, so you will know it doesn't really go outside your card. When this is ready, it will be time to put all those beautiful pink flowers, and I left them to the last because I really like them, and I think they really make that massive difference on a card. Have you ever created a card with floral bouquet? If you haven't, I do encourage you to give it a go. If not this one, there are so many other ways you can create beautiful floral clusters. At the end of this video, I'm going to leave the links to some of the videos I created with floral jug, so please check them out. So when this is ready, it will be time to actually create some other elements. But first, let's fill all the spaces, right? As you can see, the dimension is stunning, and here I've got some leftover flowers from my wreath, so I'm going to cut them apart and use some of the elements to fill all those spaces. This is so cool, right? So if you ever have those small spaces, do not worry, there is always a way to add more elements. And at this point, I didn't worry if it goes on the smallest panel here, because I'm going to cover it and create a template for my flower jug. But don't go into the future so quickly. I'm just going to show you that in a moment. So it's always a good idea to actually check the sides as well of your floral clusters, because we really want that bouquet to be super full. And when these elements will be ready, I'm just going to add a few more elements inside as well, because I really wanted to be beautiful and finished, right? So now it is time to move on to the next step. But here, as you can see, I'm still using my scissors, and even those smaller parts will be perfect for your flower cluster, wreath or bouquet. And as you can see, it is so much easy to create. Whenever you do that floral bouquet, I do encourage you to do the outside, let's say, frame first, and then fill all the gaps. I think this is the easiest and the best way, because then every single thing will look evenly spaced, and that's exactly what we want, right? As you can see here, I was just filling all the spaces. Now with the leftover purple design paper, I'm going to create that flower jug. So using my leftover white card, I'm going to create a template. First, I need to measure how big my panels are where I put my bouquet. So here, as you can see, I'm just using my scissors, and then I'm going to cut to the size I needed. Then it will be time to create that template. So every single time it might be different. That's why I'm not using any cutting dice for this project. It's always a good idea to fold it in half and then use your pencil to draw the shape of a mug, or let's say jug, right? And when this is ready, you're going to use your scissors to fussy cut it, and you can always make adjustments to that element. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So as you can see, I'm just using the scrap of white card, because if you start using your design paper, you might waste it. But this way, you won't waste it because you can always adjust your template. So here, I just make sure that everything matches where I wanted. So when I'm happy with it, I'm going to make some adjustments with the flowers on the bouquet, because I don't want to go like underneath the jug. They just have to go from the jug, right? Now it is time to use the pencil and draw or trace the shape of the flower jug and fussy cut it. And I'm going to adhere it on that white panel inside. And to be honest, that will be it for the card. But there is always a way to make it even more beautiful. And if you know me, you know what will be missing on the front of a card. So the jug is finished here, and all those flowers are beautiful. And what's really good about this card, it actually stands proudly on a flat surface when you leave it open, and it folds flat in the envelope. Now it is my favorite part, to add some gems on the front of a card. And the card is now complete. So what do you think about those gems here? Do you like them? Please let me know in the comments down below. And I do hope that you feel inspired to create your own pop-up flower bouquet card. There is plenty of space to write your message on the back. Thank you so much for watching and spending that time with me. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because every Monday and Thursday I've got videos on my channel. So stay tuned, so click that notification bell. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting! Bye for now!